So, what are we going to do here as we come into our final hours together? There are a lot of things we could do. My goal, obviously, is to always have you leave with the strongest amount of your emotion geared in your body, because that's what's going to get you to go follow through. At the same time, I look at this program, and no matter how much we pour into it, no matter how much we put you in overwhelm, as you can only imagine, there's so many things that I know are available and needed for your businesses that aren't here. So trying to figure out, what do we put in here strategically? And so I'd like to roll the dice on something that may not be as emotionally exciting, but probably more valuable. And that is a planning process. And so you might have to, for this last part, really manage your own state a little bit. But I'd like to introduce you to what I call RPM, the rapid planning method. And RPM is an experience that when you master the thinking of RPM, you don't have to use the system itself even. You don't have to use a particular mechanical system in terms of how you do this on your computer or calculator or on paper or whatever. But if you take on this thinking system, your entire planning process will transform, and so will you emotionally. And most people in life, when they're trying to plan something, when they're trying to put something together, like plan their day, we all learned yesterday that what controls our focus controls our life. Whatever we focus on, we feel, even if it's not true. Do you agree with me on this, yes or no? And everything's trying to get our focus all the time, right? Advertising's trying to get our focus, your phone's ringing, in your pocket it's buzzing, and that buzz is either your phone, or it's an email, or it's a text. There's this constant something trying to get control of our focus. But what you focus on determines your destiny in your life. So if you don't take control of it, somebody else will. And so the challenge is, even when we try to take control of our own focus, even we try and attempt to do this, usually there's so much distraction that it becomes very difficult to do it. And even if you did it in the traditional way, and you were going to go out tomorrow, and you're going to plan your day, or you're going to plan your week, you're going to go home. In order to plan it, you're going to have to come up with some answers for the week. And the question you're going to ask, if you don't know RPM, is what? What do I need to? Say it nice and loud. What do I need to? And that's a good question. It's much better than, why do I have to do this? It's much better than, what the hell do I do? A few modifiers around that language and you'll feel very different, won't you? So when you ask, what should I do? The answer you're going to get is usually based on whatever is most pressing on you at that moment. And what tends to press us is either something painful, right? Right now I got to do this, because if I don't do this, something's going to happen. Or something that we want, something pleasurable. Is that true? Or it could be our own sense of vision. But that's usually the last thing that we focus on. How many agree with me on this? Say aye. So let's say, for example, someone keeps coming to you and goes, I need this, and I need this, and I need this. And they do that in the form of your text. They do that in the form of a phone call. They do that in the form of an email. They do that in the form of walking up to you and go, hey, Tony, can I ask you a question? And right in that moment, they're coming to you and they're asking for the most valuable thing you have in life, your focus. Because out of your focus, you're going to put your attention, your energy, your intellect, your emotion, your thoughts, your lifeblood. And the way you invest focus is the way you invest thought, feeling, emotion, and life. And wherever you spend that focus is going to determine what you end up with in this life and what you're able to give in this life. So focus, bless you, is the single most important component you got to learn to take control of. And most of us are not very good at this. Primarily because the culture has conditioned us to respond to what we need to do. And when you're coming up here, Dr. Ruth here in front of me, and she goes, Tony, what I need to do right now is being dictated by the environment, not necessarily by what is most important for me or my mission or my direction or my life. Now in a seminar, it's appropriate most of the time because this is what I'm here to do. But even in seminars, sometimes I have to say, can I get back to you in a moment? Because I have to do this because I'm also running this damn thing. I'm not just on stage, right? So the combination makes me have to look at it. And there's an army of people back here running it, and I got to help them, or they got to help me, and a lot of moving parts. So sometimes I got to stop and not let you take my focus, even though I'd like to give it to you. But if I were to ask, what do I need to do? I'm going to get a certain quality of answer. Let me give you an example of what I mean. True story. President, I won't go any deeper than what I can reveal without being disrespectful in any way, shape, or form. I would never do that. But it's a known fact, because it got out in the newspapers. There was a stage when President Clinton called me. And when he called me, he literally called me up and said, and I'd known him for a little while and worked with him prior, but he called me up and said, they're going to impeach me in the morning. What should I do? And I kid about it today. I said to him, well, could you have called me sooner? But what truthfully I said after that was, I can give you my answer to that question, but I don't know if that's really the question you want to answer. Because the answer of what you should do requires a different question to be asked first, which is what's most important to you? Because if what's most important to you is to stay in office, then obviously you should just keep doing what you're doing, because even though they'll go try to impeach you, they won't have enough votes and you'll stay in office. But if your outcome, what do you want? What's your outcome? What's the result you're after? That changes what you do. If your outcome is to regain respect from mothers, fathers, what they can say to their children about the President of the United States, then based on that, you might have to do something different. And I said, it's easy for me to say, because I'm not in your position, and I'm not facing an inquiry in the legal side. And he said, yeah. And I said, but you're also a lawyer. Now, you certainly know the law. And I said, you know what you can say. He goes, yeah, well, you don't have somebody coming at you, stars coming after me, and he's trying to do this, trying to do that. I said, I know that. So I'm not telling you what to do. You're just asking me what to do. I won't tell you that. First, you got to tell me, what do you want? If you don't know your outcome, if you don't know the real result you're over and you answer what to do, you may even get what you want. You may do that, get the result, but it's not the result you really wanted. That's, again, the difference between strategy and tactics, isn't it? Which is one of the single most important lessons I hope we got across to you this week. So you got to learn to ask a different question than what to do, because how many of you found out that it doesn't matter what the day in your life is? If you really write down everything you got to do, there's no way in hell you could do it all. How many agree with me on this? Raise your hand and say aye. So most of you start out in the old days with a little time management book and you used to write down all your to-dos.